Oh, that's right. Remember now. Okay, so we'll start sitting comfortably. Whatever that is for you. Got my dragonfly socks on today. So just letting our spine be long and sitting tall but relaxed, right? However that is for you. Just maybe letting the eyes be soft or closed. So we'll start to slow and elongate the breath. Come into the body, letting the belly relax as we draw the air in and out. Letting the shoulders relax, feeling the hips relax, jaw, the tongue. You want to make any sound on the exhale. Any sound wants to come out, just feel free to release or sigh, or sound can really help the body come into that relaxed state. So, and letting the exhale be really elongated, more so obviously than the inhale, but really exhaling all the air out, taking a brief moment at the end of the exhale before we inhale. Okay. Just letting there kind of suspend in that little space, and then drawing in the inhale. The mind relax on our breath. Everything relaxing here as we come into our body. If you want, you can bring your fingers up to your heart and do a gentle tapping around the heart and thymus. A gentle tapping around there to stimulate that area, heart, the immune system. As we continue to breathe, and then bringing our hands up to our head, little massage of our scalp. Whatever feels good to you, temples. Then bringing our hands to our ears, giving them a little massage. We can just pull and rub on the ears. Get into all those little crevices. Good for us to kind of just work the ears, right? Really good for stimulating all those organs because the reflexology points in our ears. And then we'll put our fingers in the ears, gently pull down and hold for a breath. Stimulate the vagus nerve. And then let the arms come out from our shoulders and just gently move the spine forward and back, reaching forward with our arms, letting the scapula stretch apart, and then pulling the arms back, lifting the heart, kind of feeling those scapula squeeze a little bit. So just back and forth a few times, flapping wings, letting the shoulders relax down from the ears. allowing our spine to move in that wave-like motion. And then we'll let our arms come down by our side. And if you're sitting cross-legged, you can just uncross your legs and bring them into a bent knee position like that. And I'm gonna turn my body a little bit, but we're just gonna let our knees sway over to the right. And then we're just gonna take a little twist to the right and come down onto our forearms. So you might be just starting in a more gentle twist, and then you can always increase your twist, but just letting the body relax here on our forearms. We'll feel a little stretch to the right side of our body. And that twist, which is stimulating our spleen and stomach, particularly if you would like to eventually let your arms kind of splay out and rest your head on your hands and just let the chest drop down. You can opt to do that. That will give a little stretch through the underneath of our arms and shoulders. You'll stretch through the shoulders and the upper back. Of course, we increase the pressure into the hip a bit too. Also go back and forth between being on the forearms or resting your head down all the way. Whatever feels good to your body here. And allowing our breath to be nice and full and even, but not forced as we are in this little twist, right? Sometimes it can take a little bit more deliberate breathing in a twist. Okay, so we're going to start to make our way back. So you can just use your hands, press yourself up, and come back around, face forward. And here we'll lift our legs back up, and with the legs apart a little bit, we'll take them over to the left side. And then turning toward the left, coming down onto your forearms. Of course, feel free to have bolstering or anything that you want to rest your arms or your head on. We'll just relax over on this side. Either staying on the forearms the whole time or allowing the head to come all the way down onto the hands if you like that variation. So in our yin practice, we always want to approach our body and our body meditation from a place of acceptance, right? Surrendering to whatever happens to be going on in our body at the moment, or in our mind, or in our heart. Just taking a more witnessing type of attitude towards what's happening without judging, just accepting and allowing. Our opportunity to really be with ourselves in a way that is gentle and yet productive, right? Because we are really doing some deep healing in yin poses. The stretching and the compression and the twisting that happens in a yin pose, getting into those deeper layers of fascia. So we'll go ahead and start to make our way up. So you can use your hands to press up and come around to face forward again. Always want to move slowly and gently out of a pose. So if you want to just give your legs a little movement, whatever feels good. And we'll come into a butterfly here. So if you need a pillow or bolster under the legs, help your legs support the legs and help them relax. I do. And we'll come forward, and your feet can be maybe farther away to start with in a more long-legged butterfly. But if you would like, you can always bring them in closer and make it more of a short-legged butterfly as we get into it. And it just changes the focus of the stretch, right? So gallbladder meridian channel that runs up the outside of the leg and hip. gets a really nice stretch here, as well as the liver channel. And we want to bring our feet closer in. It just changes that stretch to be a little bit more on the inner part of our legs. Of course, you can always massage your feet as well in this pose. This is also such a good opportunity to stretch our spine if it's comfortable, to round the spine and let your head hang, decompress the vertebra, spine and the neck. It's pretty difficult to stretch the spine. Pretty much the only way is to do a forward fold motion, movement, or pose. So, and people happen to have bone density issues, and to a greater extent, it's not recommended to round the spine forward. So if that's an issue for anyone, you can always lift your spine a little bit, keep the back a little bit more flat, right? So it's not completely rounding over. Okay, so let's slowly start to walk ourselves up to speed. Time. And you come up, you can just lift the knees. Maybe do a little windshield wiper. Lean back on your hands if you want. Feels good to you. Then we'll bring our right leg out and bring the left foot into the thigh, or as close as you can get it to the groin there, and maybe support the knee if it needs a little support. And we'll bring our right elbow onto our thigh, resting our head on our hand. And just take your left hand behind the low back hip area. Kind of let that shoulder relax there. So we're facing forward and starting to increase that stretch in our side, left side body. Supporting the head and the neck. And just noticing how that left side is doing. And once we feel it expanding and relaxing, and maybe our body allows us to increase that stretch, we can always bring our left arm up and over head and increase the stretch that way, but just being very attuned to what your body needs. We come just to the place of a little bit resistance. Find our edge. And always put your hand back behind your back again. The arm gets tired. Elbow be soft, of course, so we don't have to reach our arm unless you want to. You could really engage your left arm as well, kind of add a little more yang to that. Just finding what feels right for us on this side. Staying with the breath. And we'll just slowly bring ourselves upright, bring the torso upright, turn to face the leg. Come forward over that leg here. Maybe your forearms come down to the ground. Or maybe you need a bolster under your head or your arms. Shifting that stretch a little bit into the back of our hip, our left hip a little bit more. So the liver and gallbladder channels are particularly stretched here. Poses that we're doing. Of course, we get such a nice stretch in the waist and the side body. Yep. And the back of the leg. Liver in Chinese medicine considered the second heart because of its importance. The liver assures the flow of emotion in the body, and the chi and the blood controls our body's immune response, as well as sinews, those ligaments and tendons, skeletal muscles that we're getting into in yin, all are under the control of the liver. The liver picks up any indigestible parts of our food, those finer particles that the stomach doesn't digest, the liver takes care of. I think it's in ancient Egypt, the liver is considered the second stomach. Very important organ. Any medications, any modern day medications interrupt the function of our liver. Okay, so we're going to slowly walk ourselves up from here and nice and gently. Oh, and then we will take the legs or do whatever feels good to your legs. Maybe that knee. And we'll come to the other side. So bringing the right foot in. Pillow if you need it or something under that knee. Resting elbow on the thigh. You can bring our right hand behind our low back hip area to start with here. Just kind of coming into the pose and any little adjustments that you might need to make, of course. Checking in with our breath. Noticing our side body on this side. As gravity starts to work in a pose, you can feel that stretch start to increase. Gravity is our friend, and we don't want to fight gravity. So if there's ever any discomfort, too much discomfort or resistance, it's our cue, our body telling us that we need to back off a little bit. Come out of the pose altogether. Sometimes getting through that little bit of discomfort or resistance, you start to feel everything sort of melt, right? And let go. It does take a little bit of discomfort and resistance. If you want to increase that stretch at some point, you can always bring your right arm over the head if that feels right for you. For whatever amount of time it wants to be there. It can be quite a big task to hold the arm up in the air. So our neck and head be supported. sometimes holding our arm up over the head, whether it's on the back or in a seated position, can cause the arm to get a little tingly. So we have to be careful of that. If it starts to tingle like a nerve tingly, we want to make sure we come out, find a different position. Okay, so we can start to lift the torso, maybe use the hand to press into the leg to come up and turn towards that left leg. Come forward. Also, if this is bothersome for the bent knee, you could always straddle the legs if that's better for your bent knee. Both legs straight. So the liver channel starts at the top of the big toe, travels up the inside of the leg to the pubic bone, circles around the sexual organs, entering the lower abdomen, and travels up to connect with the liver and gallbladder. From there, it moves up to the lungs and connects with the lung meridian, then continues on up and curves around the mouth. At the mouth, it splits into two branches, one going up to each eye, which is often why there can be like vision issues are an indication of liver problems. Controls the eyes. And then those two branches meet up at the forehead and travel over the top of the head. Interpenetrates into the lungs as well as the liver and gallbladder. Liver and gallbladder work in tandem. The yin and the yang. Liver being the yin and gallbladder being the yang. Too much liver or gallbladder energy can lead to or can result in irritability, frustration, anger, that sort of energy. And then too much energy is the irritability, and too little energy can be depression or just sort of a lethargy, a lethargicness, result from not enough liver. Okay, so we'll start to slowly come up from there, using your hands to press up, taking big deep breaths you might need. And we'll just move the legs a little bit here. Shake them out or whatever feels good. Chill wiper. Yeah, whatever movement feels good to you. And we're going to come on to our belly into Sphinx. So we'll begin And take a blanket with you or a pillow if you need. And we can begin in a little locust or infant pose by bringing our arms alongside us and reaching back and lifting up here, pulling the shoulders back so we can just kind of activate all of our backside, counteracting all that forward fold stretching. Then we'll bring our elbows under our shoulders. If you want, you can just rock your body around a little bit. It's good to pelvis relax. A long stretches and a forward fold into a back bend pose. Keeps our sacrum healthy. Iliosacral joint fixating. Sit in a chair a lot. Some people have to sit in a chair a lot. It's about 4 times as hard on the sacral area as standing. So a lot of sitting really requires a lot of this kind of forward fold and back bending poses to keep the sacrum healthy. If you want to add a little more thigh and hip flexor stretch, you can reach around and grab hold of one of your feet or ankles, or you can take a strap and wrap around that ankle if it's hard to reach. We can always lower the torso down a little bit too to make that foot more accessible. So if you want, that's optional. We can increase the stretch through the front of our thigh and our hip flexors. Good stretch for the stomach, spleen meridians, channels that run top of our leg. Or you could just lift both feet and not hold on, if you prefer. At any time you want to switch, if you're doing this particular part of the stretch, you can switch to the other leg. course, when we're in when we're in Sphinx pose, we do whatever the head and neck like to do, but sometimes it's nice to do a little stretch forward and lift the chin up and get a little compression in the back of the neck, a little stretch in the front of the neck. Look at the time in that stretch. You're holding on to one of your legs. You might want to release from there. And we'll just take a short break in a half frog. So whatever side you want to start with, just slide that knee up and look to that leg and relax the head on the hand. We'll go ahead and slide that leg back down. Let's take a little bit more time in Sphinx, or if you prefer to come into Seal, go ahead and straighten your arms. You can always put a pillow under the pelvis or thigh area to support you. Our fingers pointing slightly out, spread apart, arms a little wider than shoulders, maybe like a seal. That totally natural for the glute muscles to tense up. So, having a little extra protection for the sacrum. There's a lot of planets and energy in the sign of Virgo right now. So it definitely, I've noticed that it brings my awareness into my body in sort of a deeper way, much more aware of my body and how everything feels. So that can often happen when there's a lot of planets in an earth sign. That energy, earth energy going on. Okay, so we'll come down from Seal if you're up there and just take a short break in half frog. The other side, whichever side you didn't do. Go ahead and slide that leg down and come up on to our all fours, or if that's not doable for you, finding another position where you can move your spine. So slowly starting to round the back, elbow under, and coming into an arch, moving slowly and gently back and forth in that cat-cow movement. And then we can just circle our hips, just let our body sort of move however it wants to. And going the other direction. Then we'll sit back to our heels for a child's pose, or if you're not able to sit on your heels, you can come onto your back and both of your knees, come into a happy baby or something like that, where you feel a nice stretch and opening of your hips. Okay, so we'll come up from there and around onto our back. Not already on your back, you might be sure you have bolstering available if you use it. So we'll start by hugging our knees, letting our body relax, and you can just kind of rock around, or you can curl up into a ball. It feels good to you. And then we'll bring our feet onto the mat. If you have a bolster that you want to put to your left, go ahead and put it to the left. Cross your left leg on top of your right. So the ankle is over the knee. That it's called Swan in Yin. Reach through and grab hold, pulling that right leg in. So we can hold either behind our thigh, or we can hold under the knee on the shin if we prefer to. Pull it in a little bit more. Might want to flex your left foot to protect the knee. You also might want to straighten our right leg up to the ceiling and let the blood flow back towards our heart. And then whenever you want to bend it, just let it bend. I'm going to let our right foot lower down to the ground, keeping the left leg crossed over. And then sway your legs over to the right. And you can just let your arms come out from your shoulders so that left foot comes all the way down. Maybe that knee points upward if that's possible. But if it's not, then you can put it wherever it needs to be. Or let it fold if it needs to fold in. Feel that stretch more in the side of the leg and up through the hip if the knee is pointing up toward the ceiling. And then we'll just let our legs lift up slowly to the top and sway over to the left, which is where a bolster might come in handy to rest your left leg on. Maybe after a time, if you get used to, your leg gets used to it and you want to increase that stretch, you can move your bolster a little bit away and allow it to, the leg to go farther toward the ground, just finding what works for you here. Okay, let's go ahead and lift the legs back to the top. Bring your bolster to the other side if you have it and uncross the legs. Center the hips. We'll bring our right leg on top of the left, reach through, and you might hold behind your thigh or under the knee, whatever works for you. Flex the foot if you want to protect that knee. You might straighten the left leg for a while so we can let some blood move back up toward our heart. Really good for us to put our legs in the air for a while. Spend so much time with our legs on the ground, walking. Blood's going that direction. I've been growing to love compression socks. Have to be worn pretty much most of the time for me. And they sure do help with issues with your legs and ankles. They really make a difference. My new friend. Also recently discovered best shoes if you have arthritis in your, I think just about anywhere in your body, but particularly in the feet or ankles, maybe the knees. Hoka brand shoes are amazing. They make a huge difference. Take away a lot of the pain. Been sharing that information with people a lot lately. It seems like there's a lot of foot and ankle issues. Okay, so we can go ahead and bring our left foot down to the ground and extend our arms out from the shoulders, sway over to the left till the foot comes on down there, and maybe the knee points upward. That's doable. You might turn your head to one side or the other, or look up, whatever feels comfortable. And we'll bring the legs slowly up to the top and let them sway over to the right. Maybe with some support to start with, or to start and end with. And just allowing yourself to come into a comfortable position. You might lift your legs and uncross them. Might want to hug your knees into the chest, or whatever feels good. Move your body down onto the ground and relax and breathe for a moment so we can just integrate, allowing the breath to move energy through all those channels, noticing how we feel, noticing how we're breathing, noticing how our mind feels after an hour of yin. Just giving thanks to our body and for being there for us. Thanks to our breath for being there for us. Giving thanks to the Mother, to Gaia, to our life force for being there for us. Be sure to move slowly. Whenever you want to come out, to move slowly and gently and not come up too quick. quickly, but continue to lay there if you want. Thank you all for coming.